Hello everyone, GeneralApple here, and today is an exciting day because today I'll be starting the House in Fata Morgana, a Requiem for Innocence playthrough, which I'm super excited for because I've played the House in Fata Morgana just a month ago, and whenever I finished it I said it was a 10 out of 10 game, so I was super excited when you guys told me about this one. And it's so incredible. Even though this is a prequel, apparently you do need to play the first game to enjoy it to the fullest. And it's supposed to expand about the story of Morgana and Jacopo, so if you haven't watched the first game, please do, because it's super important for this one. And yeah, I'm super excited because we got to see a lot of Morgana and Jacopo's story in the first game, but it wasn't too expanded upon. So hopefully we get to see the full story revealed in this game. And yeah, this is gonna be just great. I can already tell the music is a 10 out of 10 just from the beginning. It is so good. Even in the first game, they never failed in music. I'm sure this game won't fall short of it either. And if it's a fraction of a good game, just like the first one, we're in for a ride. Because the first one was a 10 out of 10. It was too good. So I'm super excited to actually start this run. I heard it's much shorter. I heard it's like about 10 hours of gameplay. The first game I believe was 30 plus hours. So this is 10 hours of gameplay or so, which is good. It's good. I mean, I don't have problem with short stories. I think this is great. And hopefully it will be just as enjoyable as the first game. I'm in for the ride. Let's click a Requiem for Innocence. And by the way, if the volume is too high, let me know and I'll tune it for the next video. For now, I think that this is fine. Oh my god. I'm so excited. I really missed this game. It's only been a month, but I missed this game so badly. Hear me speedily, O Lord, my spirit fails. Hide not thy face from me, lest I... Oh. That was quick. Okay, I guess it's one of those times where it's too quick for you to read, but you get the message, you get the point. Ah, wow. For I am thy servant. So another quote from the Bible, I assume? Yeah. They stay on theme. Oh, the music is so good. Barnier, I remember that name. Cheers, a saint's blood and good fortune to all. So that is the Lord, right? Jesus! This is how it starts? Oh my god. That is horrible. That is graphic. This is the full picture here. Oh, wow. Voices. So many voices. Laughing, laughing, laughing. Was this the 10th such party? The 20th? I no longer had any idea. The Lord guest merrily drank of my blood. My father had not blessed me with his miracle, so wealthy nobles could fill their goblets with it. My blood was for the poor, for the infirm, and the destitute. Why am I here? Why am I not doing my father's work? With each passing moment, my body grew colder and colder, while a mad, fiery fervor spread amongst the partygoers. Father, it hurts. My soul hurt far more than my body. It felt like it was cracked in a dozen places, about to shatter. Again and again, I've told myself it was just a trial, that God was simply testing me, but I didn't think I could bear it much longer. A horrible black miasma spilled from the wounds of my flesh, filling the room. It was probably an illusion, something only I could see. The miasma soon began consuming my spirit. All my life I spent telling myself to be pure, just, righteous, and all of that was corroding away, ripping me asunder. Father, O Lord, of thy mercy, cut off mine enemies, and destroy all of them that afflict my soul. For I am thy servant. I am thy servant. Please, O Father, deliver unto these sinners thy holy judgment. Cast them down into the depths of hell for the sins they would commit against thy faithful servant. Disguised as a prayer, I cursed them. For the first time in my life, I wished someone ill. I did what a saint, what a daughter of God must never do. And in that moment, I committed a sin greater than anyone in that room. Oh, man, no. The girl, look at her face. I began to hear panicked voices rising up around the home. However, I was completely oblivious to the cause of the unrest. In fact, I assumed that perhaps God had heard my wish and struck down some of the partygoers. The Lord marched over to where I sat in chains, grabbing me by the hair and yanking my head up. In his other hand, he held a sword. A disgusted grimace was carved onto his face, as though he was looking down at the filthiest thing in the world. You're a damned witch wearing a saint's skin. Oh my god. That is brutal. Oh, a Jacopo. This is worse than I expected. This is him? At his fullest when he was still a slave, I think? Or not really a slave, just a really poor man. Also, the background images have improved significantly from the first game. You actually see stuff now. It looks amazing. The stench of rotting flesh hung in the air. Corpses were strewn about the room in varying states of decay. Blood pooled on the floor, black and thick as mud. An eyeball hung loose from one body, half decomposed, and about much as liquid as it was solid. Oh my god. On many, white bone was visible through patches of flesh that had rotted away entirely. Some had been worked to death. Others died of any number of diseases, and they were the lucky ones. Several bodies bore stab wounds from head to toe. Others looked like someone had tried to rip them in two. Some had been burned until their entire bodies shriveled, and some were covered in blisters. There was no shortage of people who had obviously been tortured, though the man on the other hand of torture, the Lord, Barnier, thought of it as more of a leisure activity. The Lord was spoken of in whispers as the second coming of the great tyrant of all. Though it wasn't until I snuck into his manor and saw it for myself that I truly understood how accurate it was. He was a damn psychopath. I apologize that I couldn't make it in time to save you all too. I'm hardly a religious man, but for you, I think I can spare a prayer. Rest in peace. I'm not myself today, though I suppose that shouldn't be a surprise considering what today is. I wonder if that girl from the other day is among the dead. No, I need to stay focused. If this goes south, I'll be the one joining this pile of bodies. God, I'm starting to get a little nervous. Huh. Don't go weak in the knees now, Jacopo. How can I ever expect to go out into the world if I can't even keep myself together for something as straightforward as this? I can do this, no problem. Let's start ourselves a revolt. So we're starting immediately from the revolt, from Jacopo's revolt, which was successful. It all began a little over 2 weeks earlier. The local lord's iron-fisted rule was destroying the commoners, and this went doubly for those living in poverty, who were barely scrapping by before taxes. You could hardly take 3 steps out in the slums without hearing someone curse the Lord. I have no idea who first proposed the plan. Everything came together so smoothly, so quickly, it's almost a blur. What started as an everyday litany of complaints hurled back and forth between the usual crew of young, indigenous men in the pub soon escalated, ballooning into a full-fledged plot to strike back. He treats us like dog shit. We're the ones working his goddamn land. Let's give the bastard what's coming. Over the next few days, word of the plot spread through the slums. and the number of volunteers grew at an impressive pace. And the more people we had on board, the more realistic it all started to become. While the original plan amounted to charging in headlong with whatever weapons we could scrounge together, it quickly evolved into a more sensible scheme to infiltrate the Lord Manor and free slaves. It was no secret that the Lord was purchasing far more slaves than he should have any reasonable use for. What we didn't know was what he did with the slaves. That the banquets he so loved to throw were actually sick, sadistic torture parties. The best we could do was infer their living conditions were less than ideal from the fact that the Lord kept acquiring more. And while the plan to free the Lord's slaves was undeniably rooted in righteous desire, I would be lying if I said everyone's intentions were so pure. We wanted to right an injustice, absolutely, but the prevailing desire was for vengeance, to give the Lord a little comeuppance. Part of it was also calculated, that it would be advantageous for it to look like a slave revolt rather than a civilian uprising. If we struck from the outside, we were liable to bring the Lord's wrath down upon more than just a handful of us involved. But if the blow came from the inside, he couldn't blame us. Secondly, the Lord's mansion sat atop a hill, which meant his soldiers had advantage of terrain. It would be nigh impossible for a band of lowly ill-equipped peasants to break through his defenses, and we certainly didn't have the money to hire mercenaries. No amount of righteous anger was getting us anywhere near that manor. On the other hand, quietly getting one person inside to stir the pot was far more feasible. So ultimately, freeing the slaves was a mean to an end. It was our best chance to deal the Lord a real blow. Of course, that didn't mean we wouldn't save as many people as we could, nor did it mean it would be easy to pull off, or that any of us would make it out alive. The plan went as follows. We would find a slave trader willing to sell one of us to the Lord. Once they had infiltrated, they would spread a word of the scheme to other slaves, trying to get as many of them on board as possible. Finding a slave trader willing to cooperate was surprisingly easy. They're businessmen, and slaves, their product. While the majority didn't give a damn what happened to the slaves after they received payment, there were more than a few who were displeased, knowing their precious wares were being squandered. Slaves are supposed to be long-term workers, they're not meant to be expendable. They require food and rest and some semblance of reasonable living conditions. It was far from a glamorous life, obviously, but most sensible slave owners at least had a vested interest in keeping the workers alive. However, that was far from the case with Lord Barnier. Slaves were, of course, the property of whoever purchased them, and a mere slave trader had no place complaining about how they were being treated. That didn't mean the traders had to like it, though. And there was a small collective of them who staunchly refused to do business with the Lord, quietly mocking any who did. Oh, wow. By the way, the music again, so good. Nobody openly spoke ill of the Lord, let alone opposed him directly. Not only because this land was under his control, but because he was a madman, and everyone knew it. So they would help us get in, and nothing more. But that was fine. That was all we needed from them to put our plan into action. At the vanguard of our operation, the one who would infiltrate the Lord Manor, was me. I volunteered for the position, partially in the heat of the moment, but also because I was confident I could pull it off. Above all, though, I didn't want to believe that I couldn't manage such a straightforward task. I had to step up and take initiative, or I would never escape this life as a poor, lowly slum dweller. Crawling through the dirt, everyone, nobles and peasants alike, looking down on me, thinking I'm worthless. That would be me for my whole pathetic life. Like hell I was going to let that happen. I want to claw my way up, as high as I could manage. I didn't want to surrender to accept that I was powerless. I wanted to make something of my one and only life. We chose the beginnings of the Lord Next banquet for my infiltration. And that was when I saw the horror for myself. The abuse and the torture he put the slaves through. It was a goddamned blood banquet. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at that. Wow. Any mistake, no matter how small, would invite harsh discipline. If Barnier was in a particularly foul mood that day, he would physically beat the wrongdoer. He had a particular fondness for activities that drew blood though, and he would regularly gather together nobles with similar predilections at his manor. Once the banquet had begun, it generally continued for around 2 weeks. Oh my god. The first thing I did after infiltrating was spread word of the plan to other slaves. To be honest, I assumed it would be easy getting them to cooperate. They should have reviled Barnier more than anyone after all. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Every ounce of willpower had been drained from them. They were malnourished, unrested, and violently oppressed. I could hardly have convinced them to swat a mosquito. He had them completely under his thumb. Everyone was utterly terrified to fight back against Barnier. They would just as soon take their own lives. Hardly a day in, and the plan already seemed to have hit a wall. A full week I spent trying and failing to convince a single soul to assist in the revolt, just as I was beginning to fear it might not work after all. Slave men, we need to talk. Come with me. He seems fairly strong. He was tall, muscular slave who spent most of his time doing physical labor. Despite the poor condition, he seemed to be keeping himself in rather good shape. And unlike the other slaves, his eyes weren't filled with fear and resignation. But it wasn't hope I saw in them either. Rather, they looked like the eyes of a bloodthirsty wolf. And his unkempt, greasy blonde hair only served to amplify the primal impression he gave off. Between that and the faint, cocky smirk visible on his lips, he would more resemble the head of a gang of ruffians than a slave. I wasn't sure it was entirely wise to accompany him anywhere, but against my better judgment and with far too little information, I followed the man to the Great Hall. There were a dozen or so nobles and upper-class men and women clustered about the hall. The air was filled with the scent of aromatic herbs, and it wasn't long before I realized they were meant to mask the smell of blood. A large table was lined with plates, stacked with piles of glistening, dark red meat. Noblemen sneered at us with wet lips as we entered the room. Oh my god, that is horrible. The contrast between nobles' practiced graceful mannerism and the grotesque feast of which they were partaking was so bizarre I simply stood there aghast. There was no room for anger to form. The lord stood on a platform, like a small stage, at the far end of the room. Oh, this is him? Hate this man. Wow. That's interesting. Do they wear the same clothes from the first game? Jacopo took his clothes? It seems kind of similar. Are you the slave who offered to be the day entertainment? The buff man nodded, dropping down to one knee. What does he mean by entertainment? Surely I've tried of merely inflicting pain on a helpless slave. Would ya, by chance, be interested in something a little more exciting? Could you be any more disrespectful? Lord Barnier, you would do the best to rid yourself of barbarians such as him. There, give the poor man a break. You can't expect an uneducated slave to be properly versed in the ways of polite society. Now, elaborate, slave. Me and him, we duel. Right here, right now. What? Oh god, do you seriously think we haven't already pit slaves against each other numerous times by now? If that's all, tell me, were they as vigorous as the two of us? Young and chomping at the bit? Well, if all you want to see is a couple of half-dead slaves limping, flailing at each other, then help yourself. But you're not gonna find many here that can give you a fight with some real oomph, you know. Hell, half the slaves here probably keel over with just a little shove. So I figured you might be up for a little change of pace. A barbarian like me. Whoa, I never agreed to this. Suck it up, you're a slave. Since when you had the right to agree to anything? You make a compelling argument. Gratian, was it? So his name is Gratian? My lord knows my name. I'm honored. I only remembered because you came very highly recommended. The slave trader said you were descended from a line of warriors that made a name for themselves fighting in ancient Colosseum. I had assumed he was exaggerating, but perhaps there was some truth to it after all. Who can say? Couldn't you tell about my ancestor? But what I can tell you is that I love a good duel. Fought in the Colosseum, descended from gladiators, and I'm supposed to go one-on-one against him? Very well. Guards, bring these 2 swords. Sir. Shit. What is he hoping to accomplish? To win Barnier favor? Oh, I guess he's looking to get himself armed. That is a good idea. I guess I'll just have to hope I can catch him by surprise as soon as I... Hey, kid. Listen up. What? Eyes forward. And keep him down. Listen carefully. Don't get any wise ideas, got it? Just go along with it. Everything on the level. What are you scheming? You'll find out soon enough, assuming you can handle a sword anyhow. 2 guards approached us, each carrying a long sword. It was heavier than I expected, but it felt awkward in my hand. Both of our blades were badly chipped, clearly old and battle-worn. Of course, they wouldn't give new, quality weapons to a pair of slaves, but a sword was still a sword. Beaten enough they may have been, I still had to be careful, or I'd be dead before I ever got the slave revolt off the ground. That said, I had survived this long in the slums. I wasn't completely helpless, and I had experience with a dagger, though I wasn't sure how much help that would be now. The longer 2-handed weapon still felt awkward in my hands. As I squinted at the blade hilt and adjusted my grip, trying to familiarize myself with the feel of it, Barnier took a seat, readying himself to spectate. That's when I caught sight of what lay hidden at the back of the stage. What? I stood there, staring aghast, completely forgetting I was but moments from a duel with a man twice my size. At the back of the stage, what looked like an altar, draped in a thick white sheet, and stained red. Atop of it sat a young girl, covered in gashes. Her head was dropped, so I couldn't see her face. But judging from her size, I didn't think she could be more than 10 years of age. Some wounds were older, and are already scabbed over. Some were swollen, bright red prostrations on her pale skin. Some were oozing pus, and others were so fresh they were still bleeding. It was difficult to find part of her body that wasn't cut. Hey, what do you think you're doing to that girl? I don't care who you are, no one deserved that. Even as I shouted at the Lord, the girl remained motionless. She seemed unconscious. Not dead yet, but it wouldn't be long. Silence, cur. I don't recall giving you permission to speak. Or if you'd rather lose your head right now, continue on as you are. Damn despot. Now go on, get started. Give us a shove befitting of this grand affair. Finding my urge to snap back at him, I turned to face the slave named Gretchen. The other guests lined the walls, whispering among themselves, speculating about a potential victor. The crowd was so overwhelming in Gretchen's favor, to absolutely no surprise. They didn't even bother taking bets. Try to go down in one blow, kid. Hold on, what's the point of this? Slowly, Gresham lowered into a crouch, and the next second he leapt at me like a tiger. There was an audible whoosh, and before I even had time to gasp, he was mere inches away. What choice do I have? Oh wow, there was an animation? Wow, they really improved it since the first game. I swung my sword up, catching Gretchen's blade mid-descent and attempting a parry, but there was far more weight in his strike than I had expected. The impact caused my hands to sink painfully and my knees to buckle. I clenched my teeth, trying at the very least to hold my ground. Oh wow! Gretchen barely gave me time to recover, let alone strike back before launching into a second attack. He handled the longsword so effortlessly, swinging it through the air in such impressive, perfect art, that I could hardly believe we were both using the same weapon. I twisted out of the way, but not quite in time. The tip of his blade skimmed the skin off my neck, and then, not even giving me a chance to catch my glance, he thrusted his blade at me. While I managed to deflect the attack just in time, I wasn't able to follow through. Meanwhile, a wide, mocking smirk branded across Gretchen's face. He seemed to be having the time of his life. Come on, kid. You have to do better than that if you want to keep your head. I rattled off several insults in my head, but unlike him, I couldn't spare the energy to put them into words. Ooh. Pick it up, boy. Is that all you got, kid? I thought you'd fare a little better. Shut your damn mouth. I was stuck on the defensive, and with every strike, he pushed me further and further back. I was almost up against the wall. I thought he said this was part of some plan. Or was he just trying to get me to let my guard down? He's conspiring with the Lord, he must be. Why challenge me to a duel, though? Did someone spill word of the plan to him? Come on, give me your best shot, boy. Yes, very funny. You know damn well I'm barely managing as it is. You gotta at least try. Don't want to put our audience to sleep now, do we? Even the bones in my forearms are starting to sting. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Here, let me show you how it's done. God, I can get a damn inch on him. Much more of this and I'll be up against the wall. I'm dead if I don't go on the defensive. Now my last chance, while I've still got breathing room. Hey big guy, you may think you have the advantage, but not for long. That's rich, coming from a guy who can't even get one swing in on me. It was all a trick to let your guard down. I've been saving this one just for you, meathead. Good luck dodging it. With that hulking body of yours. Now that's more like it. Let me have it, kid. I hopped backwards a couple of paces until my heel was pressed up against the wall. There was no backing down. Not anymore. Breathing heavily, I lifted my blade, pointing it at Gretchen. He pointed his in turn, a cocky grin plastered on his face. And then, I kicked off the ground, hard, sending me flying towards him, my sword held down near my waist, his above his head. And then, whoosh. He whiffed, his blade ripping through the air, just over my head. The mere force of the gale created by his swing was so intense. For a brief moment, I thought he might have knocked my head clean off my shoulders, but I was still breathing. And despite the exhaustion, my mind was incredibly clear and focused. I hadn't swung up at him, but slid across the floor. Your back's wide open. I lurched to my feet, spinning around, and swung my sword at his neck with everything I had. What? But my would-be grand comeback was deflected from behind without a bat of an eye. And hardly a wimpy deflect for that matter. My hands felt like they were on fire. Little bit on the dirty side that was, but hey, not half bad, kid. Damn it. Just a little more oomph to the swing and you might have landed it. Too bad, too bad. I don't stand a chance against him head-on, but it's not one to fall for the same dirt twice. I need a new plan. Back against the wall with you. Son of a... What's the matter, kid? That's all you got? After all that talk, I was expecting a little more from you. He's got me completely under his thumb. I'm dead if I don't do something, but I can barely lift my arms anymore. It's getting harder to breathe. My vision's going blurry. I can't die yet, not here, not now, and not to this damn brute. There has to be something, an opening I'm not seeing, anything. Some way to turn the tables. Oh, am I imagining it? Or did I react to that quicker than usual? Is he doing what I think he's doing? Patterns were forming in my mind. I'd been through this routine so many times now, my body instinctively knew what came next. I'd parried the strike entirely by reflex. I wasn't so full of myself as to think it was a sign I was gaining the upper hand. As much as I loathed to admit it, he had every imaginable advantage over me. I should have realized what he was doing sooner, but I've been so focused on keeping my head attached to my sword and my hand that I didn't have the spare mental capacity to see beyond that. He was in complete control. The only reason I was to keep up with him was because he was letting me. Because he was repeating the same sequence of attack again and again. If I'm right, the next will come from above. Oh, right on the money. A clang, like the pealing of a bell, echoed through the hall as our blades collided. It was much cleaner, more satisfying sound they had made when I was struggling to keep up. I still don't know what he's scheming, but I'm not going to throw away this chance to win back some ground. Sparks flew with each clash of a sword, and Gretchen's smirk grew wider. I could hear murmuring bubble up in the gallery as the tides turned, cheering, cursing, confused gasps. But before long, the sound seemed to grow distant. It was just me and Gretchen in a bubble of silence. Not even the sound of metal striking metal, my heavy breathing, the stomping of her feet, the distractingly loud pounding of my heart, the blood pumping through my veins. It all whisked away into nothing. Every one of my senses were focused on exactly two things: the image of our swords cutting clear arcs through the air, and Gretchen intent. That's it. Next, overhead. He whispered so quietly that by all rights I could have never heard it, but his intentions came through loud and clear. As if being controlled by that voice, I swung my sword down. After about a half-dozen such clashes, we locked blades and had a brief showing match before putting a little distance between each other. And then we went at it again. To the audience, it would have looked like a fierce battle to the death, but I felt more like we were dancing than anything. Well, he was dancing. I was merely following his lead. But if that was his plan, whatever his plan was, I had no choice but to dance to his beat. The only thing improvisation would get me is a sword through the heart. Meanwhile, sticking to the plan, I had nothing to worry about. No reason to fear his sword might go off course. After several more fierce clashes, we got in close again. We were both breathing pretty heavily by that point. I was drenched in sweat, and it felt like I'd collapse right then and there if I loosened up for even a second. Gretchen tossed a glance off to the side for the briefest of moments. His lips came together, curling up into a smile. Listen up. 3 paces back, then charge. Swing down as hard as you can, put everything you've got into it. As soon as I signaled my acknowledgement, Gretchen parried my sword off to the side. 1, 2, 3 paces back, then I gathered my strength into my legs. I crouched, like he had at the beginning of the duel, envisioning myself as a tiger ready to pounce. And then we leapt at each other in perfect sync. What? The harsh sound of metal striking metal, more piercing than anything else at that point. For a heartbeat, the world went white. Then, a whoosh of something ripping through the air. Huh? It wasn't for another second or two I realized what had happened. Breathing heavily, I looked down at the sword in my hands, only to find half of it missing. Gretchen's blade appeared to have snapped as well. The gallery began buzzing. Are you alright? How dreadfully dangerous. Oh, they're trying to get new swords? A perverse grin spread across Gretchen's lips. I finally understood what he'd been scheming. He wanted the sword to break, and he wanted to look like an accident, hoping that when the shattered blades went flying, a noble or two would be caught in a crossfire. That explained the whole song and dance, why he had us hitting each other and the blade in the same spots over and over again. But how the hell would you ever expect that to work? Huh. That said, if the fight had gone much longer, I don't think I would have lasted. His plan seemed to have gone about as well as you could reasonably expect. One piece landed near Barnier and the other embedded in her table. That's fine by me. I'd rather avoid causing any more of a scene before the actual revolt. Not that I would be opposed to seeing any of these madmen skewered. Gretchen wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand and surveyed the room. As obviously outclassed as he is by all the nobles, he still seemed much larger than anyone else in the room. It took a few moments to catch his breath, then sauntered over to the center of the great hall, taking another good look around the room before saying, "Apologies for the disturbance, my lord. While ordinarily a duel's supposed to end with someone dead, it looks like that's out of the question today. So mayhap we can reschedule, put on another show in a day or two, if you would like." Barnier seemed less than pleased with the outcome, but considering how rattled his guests were, he couldn't press the matter either. Very well. Now I believe you two deserve a reward for such a fine show. Ooh, what kind of reward? One I'm sure you'll be quite pleased with. The leftovers from today's feast. Gourmet cuisine, the like of which you mere slave could only dream of getting your dirty hands on. You mean those bleeding scrap of misery meats? Ah, worry not. They're pork in there. Oh god. They're actually eating humans? Or does your religion prohibit you from eating pig? Oh. Nah, I gave up on religion long ago. I'm fine with eating meat. Most meat, anyway. I'll have the other slaves bring it down this evening then. Now, the show's over. Be gone with you. Gone we be, my lord. I'm still concerned about that girl, but there's nothing I can do for her right now. Hopefully, she lasts long enough for the revolt, but with wounds like that. Hey kid, pick up your beat ass and let's get out of here. I'm not beat, thank you very much. Who are you trying to fool? Were you wheezing up along? Get huffy about it and makes you look more pathetic. Piss off, you inhuman monster. Ha. Now, do have a wonderful day, ladies and gents. Once we were out of the hole and in the corridor, I took several deep breaths, finally letting loose some of the tension that had built up within me. As we made our way through the corridors, the sound of the nobles laughing and chattering away amongst themselves faded into nothing. Wow, there is so much background now. It's such a huge improvement from the first game. The first game had nothing. It has barely visible pictures. This is great. This is far more detailed. I like this a lot. This is a significant improvement. We headed for the rather barren waiting room, where slaves without assignments were kept. In essence, it was a human closet. Oh, Jesus. I looked up at Gresham, who was standing beside me. I had about a dozen things I wanted to say to him, but I couldn't organize my thought into words, so I simply shrugged and pursed my lips. Yeah, that was a shame. Huh? What was a shame? You were hoping to kill at least one noble when the sword broke, weren't you? Ah, if only. I'm not that skilled, hell no. You could have fooled me. If anything, I'd say we're lucky it went as well as it did. It's a damn good thing they gave us their old crusty sword, or we'd never manage to break him at all. If not to skewer at one of the nobles, then why to go such lengths at all? Well, cause otherwise we'd had to fight to the death, of course. No, that's not what I am. Of course, we both know who'd be standing here then. As much as I hate to admit it, he has beat me in almost every category. For God's sake, how did he even get that good with a sword? Is it hereditary or something? What I'm trying to figure out is what your ultimate objective was in this whole facade. Why challenge me to a duel at all? You're planning a revolt, aren't you, kid? What does it have to do with anything? Just answer the question. Denying it will only delay the inevitable, so no point in that. And I'm fairly certain he's not on the Lord's side at least. If he was trying to win the Lord's favor, I can't imagine the duel would have ended the way it did. I can probably trust him. Yes, I am. And I need other slaves to help me pull it off. But the little drunks have you've been stuck all their fight, and you can't get anyone on board. Why even ask the question if you already know the answer? Hey now, no need for the lip, kid. I brought it up because I'm trying to tell you I'm in. You're in? Excuse me? What about anything you've done today to make you think you're in? Bear with me for a second. Put yourself in the other slave place. Some dick they never met before shows up out of the blue saying, I've organized all you have set free, and I need your help to do it. You think they're gonna buy into it? Fair enough. But it is true that I have people outside. Don't matter, you could be lying through your teeth and it wouldn't change a damn thing. All that matters is whether they think you're worth getting behind. Ah, I see your point. These slaves have been driven to the very depths of despair. They need someone charismatic enough to pull them out of that pit before they can before they can be sparked to take any sort of action. Before infiltrating, I imagine it would be much simpler. It would seem that I was rather naive on me. That was the whole lot of words to say the same thing I just said. Forget your fancy metaphors. It all boils down to this. Do they think you have a chance of pulling it off, yes or no? These people, they don't got the energy to get all philosophical. They go with their gut. And the quickest way to their gut? Show 'em you strong. Now I'm starting to understand what the duel was for. The other slaves already know of your prowess. So, if I were to fight on the same level as you, they'd be willing to hear you out, exactly. Oh, so we set up the duel to make the word spread that Jacopo is actually strong. Whoa there, kid, why the sigh? You're trying to blow this place down? that was actually pretty good. Oh my god, that was actually funny. You could have easily accomplished that without putting on a damn show in front of the Lord and putting my life in danger. It wasn't just for the other slaves, kid. What do you mean? I want to make sure you weren't some yellow-bellied peasant. That you're actually capable of doing what you promised. And now that I know you got a semi-functional spine, I'm willing to help you out with a revolt. Semi-functional, huh? Well, I'm glad I didn't disappoint you then. Given my performance back there, I couldn't blame you if you deemed me beyond hope. Give yourself a little more credit, kid. While I'm pretty sure the stories about my ancestor being gladiators are exaggerated, I did participate in a few death games myself back before I ended up here. You should consider it a badge of honor you fought a brute like me and lived to tell the tale. I was under the impression the church put an end to gladiatorial games. Ah, right, it went underground. The rules may change, but not people. Always a market for bloodsport. Then yada yada, I got sold off to the Lord and here I am. That probably explained what he meant when he said he had given up on religion. So what's your story, kid? My money's on some rich aristocrat what got in his head he wanted to play hero and stop the big bad lord from being mean to his slave. What the hell gave you that idea? You strike me as more of a pretty rich boy than a ruffian at all. A pretty rich boy? I come up from the slums. So no, I'm not some upper class punk playing hero. That a fact? Well, color me surprised. You sure don't talk or act like any of the slum boys I know. That's probably because... Huh? Nothing. And now I'm even more curious, damn it. Honestly, not that interesting, I promise. Forget I said anything. It's because I want to be able to blend in when I eventually leave the slums. But he doesn't need to know that. I only just met him. Whatever you say then. That case, how about we do some proper introductions, huh? Name Gretchen, which you already know. Nice meeting you, kid. Jacopo, I'm very glad to have your support, Gretchen. Don't mention it. I've been waiting to make the scumbags eat dirt myself, and this is the perfect chance. Alright, one more thing I want to ask. What? How old are you? Excuse me? Is that relevant to anything? Jeez, kid, someone really need to teach you how to shut up and answer a simple question. I'm 19. Oh, thank God, I'm 20. Now I don't have to feel like an ass for calling you a kid. I'm only a year younger. That hardly makes me a kid. A year is a long time, kid. Now that I've got that off my shoulders, I can put my all into helping with your revolt. I'm starting to wonder if I even want this guy help. Once I had Gretchen on board, it was remarkable how quick the rest of the slaves were to join in. They knew him and they respected him, and that respect went a long way towards improving my own standing. As far as they were concerned, I had fought Gretchen and managed to hold my own. And the big man was right. It wasn't a clever plan or moving speech these people needed to put the light back in their eyes. It was a show of strength. Over the next few days, as Barnier and his guest indulged themselves, word of the plan quietly spread beneath the surface. I started to see signs of life for the first time since I had arrived. The majority of the slaves were emaciated and weak. There was a good possibility the guards would kill many of them. But still, I urged on any who hesitated by saying, if you choose to stay, you're guaranteed to be killed eventually. It was true, to be sure, but in essence, I was threatening them. Help or be left behind to die. And that was enough to convince them to grab onto the thread of hope I was offering, however frail it may be. We chose the 13th day of the banquet to commence the revolt. Waiting until almost the end of the party's usual 2-week duration gave us a slight tactical advantage. Naturally, Barney our guest did not attend without their own protection, but after being made to watch over almost 2 weeks of debauchery, the guards will start getting exhausted. They would stop caring, and that was exactly what we needed. Hey there, GeneralApple. Everything good to go on my end. We can give Lord's asshole what's coming, whenever you're ready. Thank you. I appreciate all your help. Whoa there, kid. Save the thing for after we get out of here with our heads still attached. Huh, fair enough. Then how about this? If you both survive, I'll take you to the best pub in the slums. As long as there are pretty ladies, count me in. There's one I can introduce you to, if you don't mind your girls. Headstrong and with a little bit of a bite. Always talking about Maria. Tough and pretty? Now that I can get behind. I spent so long surrounded by all of these health-dead drones that I could sure stand for some good-natured abuse right now. Right about her. Good-natured? Might be a bit of a stretch. Rub her the wrong way and we'll find ourselves short of a pair of jewels. Think I'll pass on that one then. I don't care how much of a looker she is, I'm ready for her to be my last. How about this then? I'll tell you what I'm looking for, and you have someone picked out for me by the time this is all over. Flexible in looks, but slender, and short are a must. Meaty girls ain't really my type. Blonde hair and blue eyes are a plus, but it ain't a deal breaker. And I like him to be a bit... slow down there, you've got your head way too far in the clouds if you think you're going to find your ideal wife in a brothel and slums. Hey now, how do you expect me to give this all without something to look forward on the other side? I suppose it is a decent motivator. See? You get me. Now, on to business. You ready to do this? I've been ready, kid. Just waiting for the word. That's about as good an answer as I could have hoped for. Before we begin, I want to go over the plan one last time. After you secured weapons from the armory, you take command of the other slaves and go open the gates. While you're doing that, I'll signal to my people outside, then cause a diversion. As long as we don't make too much noise, the Lord and the other nobles shouldn't realize anything is amiss until we're on top of them. As soon as the gates are open, you head for the Great Hall, where we'll rendezvous. We crash the party, and while the Lord and his friend are distracted, my people will lead the slaves to safety. And then, we swipe up all the shiny things we can carry and get our asses in the high hell out of there. Right, can't forget the valuables. Huzzah! I'm getting all sort of fired up. Don't you trip and fall on some guard sword before we get to start our fun, you hear me? Ah, same to you. Well then, let's get going. May fate be on our side. Damn right. Hey, what do you think you're doing? You're not supposed to be here. Get back to... stay back. Don't make me kill you. Wait, stop! Oh wow. You're up. Come on, dry your bloody cards already. Don't rush me, I'm thinking. On with it. It's almost lunch. If I hold this and throw these away, I could... Christ. Huh, you hear that? Sound like was something happening downstairs. Quit trying to distract me. I ain't letting you run off with the pot like last time. No, I'm serious. Something going on down there. It's probably just a slave getting beat. How are you not used to that by now? I don't know. Something feels off to me. I'm gonna go check it out. And don't even think about messing with the cards while I'm gone. I won't. Hurry back. Ain't no bonus for giving a rat's ass. so it beats me what he's so eager about. God, I wish I could have gotten hired at a place that paid a little better. Am I seeing things? I swear, I just saw something move. You, on the wall, get down from there. What do you think you're doing? You're not supposed to be up. Put the knife away before I... Huh. You're up here playing cards and you have the nerve to call yourself a guard? I expected resistance to be light, but not this bad. I should take care of this and get out of here before the other one returns. It's amazing how much better a knife feels in my hand than a sword. So much easier to handle. Though it is not much of a help if they manage to draw on me first. Maybe I'll ask Gretchen to teach me how to use a sword if we both make it through the day. I hate the idea of giving him any more reason to claim superiority over me, but I can't think of anyone better than him. Keeping an eye on my surroundings, I climbed up onto the watchtower. I could hear shouting in the distance. It seems Gretchen was doing his job. I pulled a brightly colored cloth from my pocket and affixed it to the highest point in the tower. As it began flapping in the wind, I turned my attention toward a hill in the distance. A group of tiny dots emerged from behind a rock formation, heading this way. I let out a sigh of relief. Next stop, time to make some noise. Back up, we need backup. The slaves are revolting. Revolting? Are you serious? What do you think you're carrying that damn sword for? You shouldn't need backup, just put them down. Yes, but there are too many of them. They're not messing around either, they're stampeding right through us. They don't care how many of them die. And one of them is practically a giant. Oh, quit pissing yourself over a bunch of damn slaves. Who care how big one of them is? They're not armed, just... But... B? Behind you! Huh? Ah, sorry to disappoint you, but we are armed. Maybe you should consider posting another couple guards in front of your armory. Eek, there he is. Come on, little man. Let's see what you got. You're no fun. Anyhow, get these gates open, boys. Yeah! Everyone is opening the gates? Ooh, I take it those Jacopo's people. Kid actually did his job instead of booking it the hell out of here. Good on him. Of course, that's exactly what I was gonna do if I didn't see his people when he opened this gate. Opened the gates. Guess he actually is good for his word. Which means I'm sticking through the very end. Hey, take out as many of the bastards as you can on your way in, and be thorough. We want a clean escape, and we don't want to give them the chance to surround us. Keep at it. Don't let them get organized. If we fuck this up, the ass-pipe, it's the gallows for us all. For all of us. But if you need a weapon, grab a rock, a vase, a fucking decapitated head, anything you can find. Gretchen, how things are progressing? Smooth as a baby behind. Your reinforcement here making right good work of the guards and getting as many slaves as they can. I'm glad to hear it. Then let's head down the Great Hall. Aye, let's. I'd like nothing more than to rip the Lord head right off his shoulder. The point is not to kill the Lord. It's to deal just enough of a blow he stops throwing so many damn banquets. For now, anyway. And what if I trip and my sword just happened to run him through? I'd rather you didn't, if at all possible. But whatever happens, happens. Huh, alright. Let's do this. Yeah! Is it just me, or is it unnaturally noisy in there? Did some of the others beat us to it, maybe? Far as I know, we're the first ones here. Well, I guess we'll find out. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3! Chaos reigned over the manor. But the chaos in the hall, where the Lord held his banquet, was a slightly different flavor. A buzz filled the room. Noblemen and women murmured, shuffling backwards, putting a distance between each other, tossing goblets to the ground. As Gretchen had suspected, we were the first one there. So why was everyone so tense? Whatever the cause of the disturbance, it seemed at least partially to thank for the thing proceeding so smoothly. The question is, what is happening here? Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a sight of the Lord. He stomped over towards the far end of the hall. Sitting atop the makeshift altar, was the same young girl I had seen the week prior. For a brief moment, relief came over me, the knowledge that she was still alive. But that relief quickly morphed into dread. You. He unlocked the shackles binding the girl. Too weak to hold herself up, she fell forward into a slump, her long, bristly hair fanning out around her limp body. And then, "You're a damned witch wearing a saint skin." The Lord raised his sword high above his head. "Gretchen, I'll be boring that." "What? Hey, you little son of a..." "Ooh." "What?" I hurled Gretchen's longsword for the Lord, knocking his blade from his hand. The two swords rattled to the ground. I tossed my gaze to the girl for a split second. She was very clearly out of it, but she seemed to be breathing. Finally, realizing a pair of slaves had just burst in on them, the nobles' panic swelled and one of them started shouting for the guards. Well, fuck me sideways. There goes any chance we had a surprise attack. Damn it all. And we had a perfect distraction too. The hell with it. Get in here, boys. Oh god. They're all rebelling. Wait a second. Need my sword first. The next second, the room was enveloped in a canopy of shouting and screaming and clanging. Most of the nobles carry swords, but very few actually seem to have any idea how to use them. The majority scrambling for the back exit. You insolent worm. Who do you think I am? To threaten your lord is this light god. Huh. Ever the cocky bastard, I see. Tell me, do you have any idea what's happening right now? Silence, cur. You will regret ever defying me. Ha, nothing more original, you third-rate fairy tale villain. I was the one who had said the Lord death was not part of the plan. Yet there I was, going straight for him. Gretchen was absolutely right. The Lord had been distracted with the girl when we arrived, but I had thrown that advantage away. I'd seen God knows how many slaves killed in hardly 2 weeks' time. Adding another body to the pile shouldn't have fazed me one bit. Logically, there was no reason for me to care. But I couldn't just leave her. And of course, now that I picked a fight with the Lord, I had no choice but to follow through to the very end. I dashed for the Lord, scooping up one of the dropped swords and swinging it down on him. Huh. But the blade cut through nothing but air. I had assumed he would be a pushover, another noble obsessed with money and power and helpless to defend himself. So there was no hiding the look of shock on my face. Damn, he can move. Barnier slid out of range, swinging the remaining sword off the ground. Oof. And whipping it through the air with practiced grace. Perhaps you should have saved the snide yapping for when you have the skill to back it up, insignificant cur. Ha, we'll see if you'll still feel the same when I'm through with you. I closed the gap. We clashed. He swung. I parried. Steel and steel ripped through hot air, carving ephemeral silver arcs in empty space. Our blades locked. What are you hoping to accomplish with this revolt? What your endgame? My endgame? To get out of this hellhole and be free from slavery once and for all. Huh, I have my doubts about whether you were a slave at all. But no matter. Why attack me? What do you care about the girl? What do you have to gain from saving her? He's right. I have nothing to gain from rescuing the girl. All I've accomplished is making this whole process needlessly messy. That said, do I need to have something to gain? Are you saying I should just sit back and watch as you murder an innocent little girl? I was angry, and I thought I'd do something about it. Nothing more, nothing less. Is that really so hard to understand? Nothing more than a childish hero complex. Just the answer I would expect from a foolish little boy with his head in the clouds. Excuse me. You're a puny worm, powerless to truly save anyone. You merely want to help the girl so you can pat yourself on the back and pretend you did a good deed. You simply want an excuse to be proud of your worthless self. Look at her. The girl hardly even breathing. She'll be dead soon enough with or without my help. And who do you think is to blame for that? You don't have any right to judge the value of her life. My role in this is irrelevant. Was saving a dead girl part of the plan? It wasn't, was it? You diverge from the script to rescue a girl whose life is of no worth to you whatsoever, all so you could afford momentarily feel good about yourself. That misstep will be the downfall of you, worm. Enough! I'll put you back in the ground where you belong. Oh god. Not a chance. Goddamn, for a flamboyantly dressed asshole, he sure can fight. There's not nearly as much force behind his swing as Gresham, but he's quick. I can barely keep up, let alone react. I hope you enjoy eternity in hell. You'll have plenty of time to reflect on your little lapse in judgment. Damn it. I can't let this bastard kill me when you're so close to succeeding. I need to keep my cool. Yes, he's got me beat in agility, but Gretchen is much more skilled swordman than him. I can handle this. Ah! Huh? Sheer determination can only mask a lack of skill for so long, boy. Look at yourself. You're out of breath. The sword you're flailing around is getting heavier and heavier. Shut your mouth, dammit. I've hardly even broken sweat. I will. I swear to God, I will have your head. Huh. Lord Barnier, your escape has been secured, my lord. It seems our fun is over. Be grateful you're still breathing, cur. Hey, wait, we're not done yet. Get back here, goddamn you. I meant to go after him, but in an instant, a wall of guard had formed between us. Traces of fear were visible in most of their eyes. Even exhausted as I was, I could have probably made it through. But before I could so much consider attempting to give chase, I caught a glimpse of the girl, limp and covered in gashes, causing me to come back to my senses. What's gotten into me? There's no point in going after him. The slaves have been freed, and his valuables plundered. The plan was a huge success. What I should be concerned with now is getting myself out of here. I need to stay focused. I took a moment to survey the whole, reevaluate the situation. Things had progressed somewhat since I got it in my head to go after the Lord. Many of the slaves were gone, and the guards were beginning to mobilize. They were better equipped, trained, and more fit than us. And we were, for the most part, fueled entirely by determination and righteous anger, which would only go so far in direct combat. Gretchen was probably the one and the only one on our side with any sort of real training. One man was not enough to win this fight, especially now that our main advantage, surprise, was exhausted. Hey, Jacopo, if you're all finished with your business, I'd really like to get the hell out of here. I may be a badass, but I ain't a god. Right, yeah, sorry for the hold-up. Before regrouping with Gretchen, I knelt before the girl. Hello, can you stand? Hello, can you hear me? I gently shook the girl by the shoulder, and the only response I got was a limp wag of her head. It was clear she was in no condition to walk. I guess I'll have to carry her, I thought, and made it to pick her up. When I saw her face and gasped, dear God, it was horrific. Unsettling marks covered the young girl's face. Primal repulsion was my first reaction, and shortly thereafter came overwhelming pity. I obviously had no way of knowing what kind of life this girl had led, but something told me it was far worse than any of the countless children who grew up in the slums, struggling day after day. Hey, get moving, I ain't waiting around. I'm coming. I grabbed the girl's arms, wrapping them around my neck from behind, and climbed to my feet. I could feel her breath, faint though it was, on my ear. You hang in there. And then I broke into a dash, leaving the fading panic of the Great Hole behind. So the Lord escaped, but I remembered he died. For some reason. Maybe it happens later? So bright. Light. Am I in heaven? God damn, she's surprisingly heavy for now, for how little meat she has on her. What do you think, she'd get lighter the harder you ran or something? Just ditch the stupid kid, she ain't long for this world anyway. Hell no, I'm not going to let all that effort facing off against the Lord to go to waste. You're one stubborn son of a bitch, you know that. This is not heaven. Who are these people? Where am I going? I don't have the strength to think right now. Hey, hey, don't you go dying on me back there. Please, I'm begging you. I'm so sleepy. Sleep. That sounds wonderful. How nice it would be to fall asleep on such a warm back. Oh, a Requiem for Innocence. Part 1. Tales of a Distant Past. So this is just the start. It was the beginning. Oh, we're at some sort of a city. We're probably safe here for the time being. So, what next? First, I need to take her somewhere where she can get some rest. Ah, you got nothing in that head of yours, kept that half-dead girl, do you, kid? What, you fall for her or something? Is that what you get your rocks off? Can you only get it up for the ugliest thing in the city? Not to mention she can't be older than 10. I'd like to think myself as open-minded, but that squeaks me, man. No, God no, absolutely not. I'm merely concerned for her well-being. Right, of course you are. Well, everyone got their kinks. I swear to God. What I'm waiting to know is, what are you planning to do with all those slaves you just freed? They can't stay here. Now, not even a chance to defend myself. Right, my people are taking care of that. They've made arrangements with several slave traders who have agreed to transport them to other cities. After that, who knows? So, you set them free and just abandon them? Obviously. I'm not some rich kid playing hero. I gave who knows how many people the opportunity to change their lives. I think I did a damn good work if you ask me. Fair enough. Can't expect you to give them the world. Setting the slaves free wasn't even the main objective. You're more perceptive than you look. Damn straight. Anywho, I'm planning to stick around for a bit. You still owe me that night with a pretty lady. In that case, you should head down to the pub. You'll probably find some of my people there. The ones who weren't injured, at least. Aye, aye. As much as I'd like to take her to a real doctor, I'd probably do best not to show my face in the city proper so soon after making a mess at the Lord's Manor. If one of his guards were to spot me, it would probably not end well. Which means that she is my only hope. Ah, Maria. Oh, it's still afternoon. We're not open until evening. It's me, Maria. Let me in. Oh, Jacopo. You're alive. You have any idea how Moriad was? I mean, fucking hell, I haven't slept in 2 weeks. I'd bet my life that I just woke you. Oh, shove it. It's the sentiment that counts. Anyway, I'm glad you're... Wait, what the hell is that on your back? A corpse? She will be one soon if we don't do something. But for the time being, she's still alive. Whoa, stop right there. I have about 1,000 things I want to say right now, but let's start with this. What exactly are you planning to do with her? I mean, she looks like she got mauled by a fucking lion. I need to stay low for a while. I can't risk showing my face in the city. So I was wondering if you would mind letting her stay here for a while. Excuse me? Letting her stay here? And if you could look after her while she's here, I would appreciate it. No, stop. Time out. I'm not doing anything without an explanation. First of all, who is she? And what the hell happened to her? The Lord was torturing her. I rescued her during the revolt. Okay, keep going. That's all there is to it. That's a pretty pathetic explanation. I'm telling you, that's all there is to it. What more do you want from me? So you're telling me you infiltrated the Lord Manor to swipe a half-dead girl you'd never even met before? You couldn't have gone for, oh, I don't know, something worth actual money? She's just skin and bones, and God knows if those wounds will ever heal. Though, if she's pretty enough, we might be able to put her to work, I guess. Let me get a quick look at... I have no words. I can't. Please, Maria. The longer we stand here, the closer she gets to death. And once she recovers, even if she even does, what then? How does she pay for her food? Cause she sure ain't as shit can't work here. I'm not sure there's much work even she can even do. We're business, not a charity. If I'm going to be putting my time and money into looking after her, I need something in return. And she doesn't look like she'll be able to offer much of anything. I can offer some financial assistance. We plundered a decent amount of valuable from the Lord Treasury. Even after we divided everything up, my share should be enough to support her for some time. I don't get it. Why do you care so much? Why do you expect me to just leave her to die? I wouldn't be able to live with myself, knowing that I could have done something to prevent it. I swear to God, does anyone have a damned heart? Because everyone sure seemed hell-bent on letting her die. What? Whoa, relax, chill. You lived here long enough, Jacopo. You should know as well as anyone that morals and good intentions aren't enough to help anyone. I don't care, I want to help her. She can't be any older than 10, and her face could very well still heal. I couldn't stand to see her life end like this. Abused and tortured by a madman. It's downright cruel. She deserves better. She deserves to know the world's not all hell and misery. Oh, fine, fine, you win, I surrender. I know better than anyone there's no changing your mind once you set on something. God, you can be so hothead sometimes. So will you help? Well, it's not like anyone else is going to. Now, whether she makes it or not is a question of how much that scrawny body of hers is determined to hold on. So what's you waiting for? Bring her on in. Thank you, Maria. I really appreciate it. Cut it out with the mushy crap. You're gonna make me spew. Please, just stick to your usual snippy bitch act. I'm gonna get a bath going. Give me a hand. She should be able to get some rest here. Hardly anyone comes back here, even during business hours. I have to say though, even cleaned up, she's a damn mess. People say the Lord's a twisted bastard, but this is way worse than I imagined. Who would do this to such a young girl? Oh, and for the record, I checked and she's still, chaste, if you would. What? Good to know, the Lord is not that fucked up, I guess. Thank goodness for small blessing. Not preserving her virginity is a whole lot of comfort compared to what he did to... Oh, Maria, show a little common decency, would you? Telling a whore to be decent is like telling a cat to bark. Well, start barking, goddammit. What? Why do you even think I need to know whether she is chaste or not? I checked, so I figured I'd mention it. Keep it to yourself. You know, for someone who spends so much time in a whorehouse, you sure are easily embarrassed. Huh? What was that? Oh, nothing. And besides, the only reason I'm here so much is to help out with the business side of things, not to make use of the facilities. So you did hear me. Hey, Maria. Ooh, is she coming too? Hey there, how are you feeling? Can you see me? I've got some warm water if you're up to drinking anything. Still too weak to move on your own, it looks like. That's alright, hang on. I'll go grab it and help you out. Oh, Lord. Huh, sounds like she just said something. Of thy mercy, cut off mine enemies. Huh? Enemies? All of them that afflict my soul. Hello? You okay in there? For I am thy servant. Oh, Lord. It's okay. He's not here. We escaped. He can't hurt you anymore. Of thy mercy. It's okay. Destroy all of them. Hey, Jacopo, not to be indecent, but I think she might be beyond repair, and not just physically. No need to jump to conclusions. She could simply be disoriented. You're safe. There are no enemies here. No need to be afraid. You'll be feeling better in no time. You just need some rest. The human body is incredibly adept at repairing itself. I'll have some ointment for you soon too. You what? Ointment? How are you expecting to pay for? Don't interrupt me, Maria. Cried. Just hang in there a little longer. You'll be all better before you know it. If there's anything you need or want, don't hesitate to ask. I'll get you anything within reason. I guess it'll still be a bit before we can talk much, huh? Maria, I need you to drop by the pub for a bit. I'll get some ointment on my way. Butterfly. Huh? Butterfly. Brooch. Gone. Butterfly brooch. What is she talking about? Is she seeing things or something? Perhaps. Or maybe the lords took it from her. My treasure. Alright, I'll see if I can find it while I'm out. If it's something the Lord took from you, there's a chance it might be in the stuff we looted from his manor. I'll be back later today. You get some rest, okay? Look after her while I'm gone, would you, Maria? I already agreed, so it's not like I can say no. Just remember, I've got work to do, so I can't be with her every waking moment. A room, a warm blanket, and you checking in on her every once in a while is more than enough, thank you. Anyway, I'll be back. Ciao. Hey, Jacopo? Yeah? Don't get in over your head, okay? I won't. So they seem to be heading down to the pub. Paul? And then I charged in, me, trusty blade held high, cutting off Barney Earl's escape route. The poor bastard straight up and pissed himself, begging and crying for his life. You were never even in the same room with him, you lying scoundrel. It ain't the details, but the spirit what matters. And I had enough spirit in me to bring the Lord himself to his knees. Forget this worthless wit. I took out 10, no, 20 guards, all by myself. This scar on my back is a trophy. Proof of my valiant exploit in I think all the yelling opened the wound again. The only thing a scar on your back proves is that you turned tail and ran, you little chicken shit. You tell them, God. Well, it certainly looks like they're enjoying themselves. Perhaps a little too much, going by how many seem to have drank themselves comatose. Not that I don't understand wanting to celebrate. Oh, at last. You grace us with your presence. Where the hell have you been? We've been waiting. Word is that he made a dash for the whorehouse soon as he got back. Mad dash. I see how it is. You'd rather celebrate with her than us. Must be nice putting prostitutes before your comrades at arms. I'm not putting anyone before anyone. An old friend of mine works there, nothing more. No need to be bashful. You can make up for it for getting your butt over here and drinking with us. You are the star of the show, after all. The what? You are the one who infiltrated the Lord Manor. Today wouldn't be possible without you. You did good work and everyone here knows it. For the record, I was gonna do it myself, but I decided to let you have the honor. I could have rallied the slaves together in half the time it took you. Tell that to the scar on your face, chicken shit. On your back. You tell them, it's the same. Oh god. I see risking your life hasn't made you three any less unruly. But I'm glad you all made it out alive, truly. On that note, do we have an idea what the casualty number looked like? Bunch of wounded, but nobody dead. Good fortune was on our side. Raw, unmatched skill, do you mean? We're the trifecta of terror. The trifecta of twats, more like. The only reason you and your band made it out unscathed is because we slaves were in the front lines. You have any idea how many we lost? Gretchen. Oh, hello again. You're looking surprisingly sober. Not drinking, huh? Just finished my first cask, actually. Let me tell you, these guys are damn lightweights. Hardly even put up a fight. So the pile of bodies in the corner is Gretchen's doing then. What on earth is stomach made of? So boys, if you really think you're such hot shit, then how about you show me what you're made of? Let's drink. See if you live up to the trifecta of tarts or whatever the hell it was. But wait, actually, we want to take our time drinking, you know? Enjoy ourselves. Over yonder. Yeah, the wound on my back hurts if I drink too much. Besides. You tell him! It's the same. Oh god. Godspeed, Jacopo. Wait, get back here. God damn it. Bunch of pussies. You wouldn't run on me now, will you, kid? I still have things to take care of. I have to find somewhere to get some ointment, and I'm looking for a missing butterfly brooch as well. A brooch? You mean this thing? Oh yes, that must be it. The girl says it's belonged to her. Could I have it so I can give it back? Huh, I don't know. I am the one who found it. There's plenty more in the loot pile. Why do you care about a worthless scrap of metal? I think it looks pretty cute on me, to be honest. What a load of bull. Fine, I'll bite. What do you want for it? Huh, I'm glad you asked. Beat me in a drinking game contest and it's all yours. Excuse me? Beat you? You went through an entire cask. What? We haven't even started and you're already admitting defeat. For the star of the show, you sure are a wuss. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. The revolt never would have happened without me. Soon, everyone know the real star of today's show was yours truly. Fine. If you're so desperate for a playmate, I'm down for your little game. But let me tell you, I hold my liquor quite well. Thank you very much. I'll wipe that smug grin off your face and shove it in a barrel full of your own vomit. Ha! That's the fucking spirit. That prissy face of yours, you'll be licking the chamber pot when I'm done with you. Oof. Hey fellas, Gretchen and GeneralApple having a drinking contest. Gretchen, who the hell is that? Do we have a Gretchen? Right over there, the big fella. He helped with the revolt. He used to be a gladiator. A gladiator? Those still exist? I'm putting my money on Gretchen. Bloody traitor. GeneralApple has been us with the very beginning. I'm betting on him. Ha, looks like we've drawn quite a crowd. You got yourself an impressive little fan club, kid. When you've been in the slums as long as I have, you get to know pretty much everyone else. The more to humiliate you in front of. Right then. The rule's simple. Whoever stayed conscious longest win. Though I doubt it'll be much of a contest. Yeah, you just keep pretending you have the chance. The truth will hit you soon enough. On the count of 3. 3! God, what's the matter, kid? You're looking a little sluggish. And this is the only glass for. Ah, look at you. Your eyes are going bloodshot. You're all talk after all. Huh, you keep telling yourself that. Hey, booze wench. Keep 'em coming. Oh, God. I could do this for hours. More. Fill her up. I was quicker than you that time. You better, yeah, look. But don't forget, I got a full cask on ya. You're running with a handicap. Ha, I'm not the one who challenged you. You're just making excuses for when I beat your ass. How many does this make? 10? 20? I've lost count. Throwing in the towel, are ya? Ha! What I tell you. Step aside, kid. This is a man's world. Are you even hearing yourself? Shut up, stupid, pretty kid face. Kid! I never liked ya, not for 1 second. What? Resorting to childish insults now, are we? I was planning to start revolt long before you even showed up. Then you came mashing in and took all the glory for yourself. Fucking, who do you even think you are? Were you now? Well, I'll ever know you. I never liked you either. You know. You think that just because you can't swing a sword around like a big ape that makes you better than everyone. What the frick did you just friggin' say about me, you little punk? You wanna go, huh? You wanna go? If you wanna go, take another drink. Isn't that what we're doing this for, huh? Oh, fuck, that's right. Fill us up again, wench. The world is spinning. That's all you got? Your face is red as a baboon ass. And you're pale as a fucking corpse. One more round, I'll crush ya. You can try. Excuse me, What? What's your problem? Booze. Where's the booze? Eek. Please don't be angry with me, but, we're all out of everything. You're what? Then go get more. This ain't the only pub in town. I have. Everyone's out. Everywhere. So, it's a draw? Huh. How anticlimactic. Seriously, what a load of bull. He just fell over. He's sleeping. Oh, he's just sleeping. God, he may be the rowdiest man I've ever met. Is he going to be okay? That looked like it really hurt. Leave him be. He'll wake up when he needs to piss, probably. And on that note, I'll be in the train. Yeah, I was actually wondering about that. Drinking way too much. Okay, that was... Wow, this game is way funnier than the first. It's actually funny. They have the opportunity now to, like, you know, be funnier. So it's actually hilarious. And that will be all for today's video. And wow, this was an incredible start. We started right off with a revolt that, of course, we saw in the first game, but we didn't see it like this. It wasn't too detailed. It was just spoken upon, and now we got to see it in full detail, which was really, really cool because we met some new characters. This Gretchen dude is awesome and super hilarious. It actually, so far, has been funnier than the first game. The first game was really dark and gloomy, but I guess that was the theme. And this game is a bit more lighthearted, as it seems. Surely it will change as we progress, because we know what's about to happen next, and the unfortunate end of these events. So yeah, it's bound to get darker, but for now, I really enjoy the small laughs we get in between moments, and that is really cool. I really, really enjoyed today's video, and I cannot wait for tomorrow to actually play this again. But for today, that's all for now, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.